Narayanam namaskritya Naram chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayam udirayet Nashta prayeshva bhadreshu Nityam bhagavat sevaya Bhagavati uttamah shloke Bhaktir bhavati naishtiki Krishnaya vasudevaya Devaki nandanaya cha Nanda gopah kumaraya Govindaya namo namah Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. So, today we will cover 3 chapters 17, 18 and 19. Bhagwan, Varaha and Hiranyaksha. Last chapter we discussed about demigods had gone to Brahmaji and they were concerned because it was darkness all everywhere. And then Brahmaji told them that you go home and that the Supreme Lord, who is the Bhagwan, who is the Trayadhisha, who is the Adhyaksh, who is the controller of all the 3 material modes of nature, also who is the controller of all the 3 planetary systems, right? He will take care of. Shemam vidhasyati. He will take care of. He is look after our welfare. And then his advice to them was, then what is there for us to worry about? Yeah. Vimashrena Kiyan Artha here. What purpose do we serve by thinking about it? Yeah. And then in the next 3 chapters that we will discuss today. So this is a verse from chapter number 19. And Hiranyaksha has been killed. And now this verse is spoken by Sud Goswami to Shaunakadi Rishi. And now we'll see what he is telling them. So please repeat now. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Etan Mahapunnamalam Pavitram.
Etan Mahapunnamalam Pavitram.
Dhanyam Yasasyam Padamayurashisham.
Dhanyam Yashashyam Padamayurashisham.
Pranendriyanam Yudhishorya-vardhanam.
Pranendriyanam Yudhishorya-vardhanam.
Narayano Antegatiranga Shrinvatam.
Narayano Antegatiranga Shrinvatam.
Narayano Antegatiranga Shrinvatam.
Narayano Antegatiranga Shrinvatam.
So we will do word by word meaning and then translation, and then I'll request you all to recite this, so that then when we recite, we understand what is the meaning of this verse. Okay? Please repeat word by word translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Etat, this narrative, Mahapunyam, conferring great merit, Alam, very, Pavitram, sacred, Dhanyam, conferring wealth, Yashasyam, bearing fame, Padam, the receptacle, Ayu, of longevity, Ashisham, of the objects of one's desire, Prana, of the vital organs, Indriyanam, of the organs of action, Yudhi, on the field of battle, Shaurya, the strength, Vardhanam, increasing, Narayana, Lord Narayan, Ante, at the end of life, Gati, shelter, Anga, O dear Shaunak, Shrinvatam, of those who listen. So this is the Shruti Fal. When you hear, then the benefit of hearing. Shruti Fal. So translation by Srila Prabhupada ki. Please repeat. This most sacred narrative confers extraordinary merit, wealth, fame, longevity, and all the objects of one's desire. On the field of battle, it promotes the strength of one's vital organs and organs of action. One who listens to it at the last moment of his life is transferred to the supreme abode of the Lord. Oh dear Shaunak. So who is speaking? Sud Goswami ji is speaking. Yes, Shukdev is speaking. Shukdev is speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. But yeah. But in this particular sequence, so when we go to this chapter, then we'll see. But yeah, so Shaunakadi, Sud Goswami is speaking to Shaunakadi Rishi, and Shukdev ji is repeating the same to Parikshit Maharaj. So here in this, Prabhuji Mataji, very important, hearing. So what Sud Goswami is telling Shaunakadi Rishi, that just by hearing, Shrinvatam, just by hearing this pastime of the Supreme Lord, how he liberated or how Hiranyaksha got killed. Just by hearing that, you get all of these benefits. So hearing is very important. If nothing else works, the hearing is the last sense. So it's very important to hear, and then we add to that hearing attentively. Just by hearing this pastime, there are so many benefits. Yeah. And we'll discuss in the purport. Now let's recite this verse, very beautiful verse. And if we recite it from the heart. Okay. Anyone wants to try? Recite the verse. I think we are not 3 Prabhujis and 3 Matajis. Yeah. Maybe 3 each. Who wants to go first? Yeah, you can try that. Pavan Prabhuji, Harika Mataji, you can also try. If you want to try, online, it's very nice. Wherever you're reciting it, the vibrations, Bhagavatam. Mahaprabhu says Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. Every single word is Krishna himself. So please go. Please go.
Etan mahapunyamalam pavitram.
Etan mahapunyamalam pavitram.
Dhanyam yashasyam padamayurashisham.
Dhanyam yashasyam padamayurashisham.
Pranendriyanam yudhisharyavardhanam.
Pranendriyanam yudhisharyavardhanam.
Narayano ante gatiranga srinvatam.
Narayane Antagatiranga Srinvatam. Okay, another Prabhuji.
Etan mahapunyam alam pavitram.
Etan mahapunyamalam pavitram.
Dhanyam yajasyam padamayurashiyam.
Dhanyam yashasyam padamayurashisham.
Prane indriyanam yudhishare vardhanam.
Pranendriyanam yudhishorya vardhanam.
Narayano antegatiranga srinvatam.
Narayano antegatiranga srinvatam. One more, Prabhuji.
Etan. Should I
Yes,
go, Prabhu?
please,
Sorry.
please go.
Etan mahapunyamalam pavitram.
Etan mahapunamalam pavitram.
Dhanyam yashasyam padamayurashisham.
Dhanyam yashasyam padamayurashisham.
Pranendriyano yudhishaurya-vardhanam.
Pranendriyanam yudhishorya vardhanam.
Narayano antegatiranga shrunvatam.
Narayano antegatiranga srinvatam. Jai. Three Matajis. Etan mahapunamalam pavitram. Dhanyam yasasyam padamayurashisham. Pranendriyanam yudhishorya vardhanam. Narayano antegatiranga srinvatam. Etan mahapunamalam pavitram. Dhanyam yasasyam padamayurashisham. Pranendriyanam yudhishorya vardhanam. Narayano antegatiranga srinvatam. Harika Mataji, you want to try?
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am. Go.
Etan mahapunyamalam pavitram.
Etan mahapunamalam pavitram.
Dhanyam yashasyam padamayurashisham.
Dhanyam yasasyam padamayurashisham.
Pranendriyanam yudhishaurya-vardhanam.
Pranendriyanam yudhishorya vardhanam.
Narayano antegatiranga shrunvatam.
Narayano antegatiranga srinvatam. Jai, very nice. Thank you, Prabhuji and Mataji. So let's hear the purport. I think we all now understand the meaning of the words, but purport will make it more clear. Okay. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki. Please hear. Devotees are generally attracted by the narratives of the pastimes of the Lord, and even though they do not prosecute austerities or meditation, this very process of hearing attentively about the pastimes of the Lord will endow them with innumerable benefits such as wealth, fame, longevity, and other desirable aims of life. I often say that everything else is a byproduct. If you perform devotional service, the wealth will come automatically. The protection will come automatically. Everything will come. Taseva heto prayateta kovido na labhyate yat brahmitam upriya.
What is the meaning of longevity?
Lambi ayu.
Okay.
Long life. Yeah. So this is what Naradji told Vyasdevji. Tasyeva heto prayateta kovido. The intelligent person only endeavor for that. Na labhyate yat brahmitam upriya, which you cannot get by traveling from the topmost planetary system to the lowermost, from Brahmalok to the Patal. And that thing is called devotional service. All other sukh, all other things that Naraji is telling, you can even get in the hellish planets. Hellish planets are more prosperous. There is more wealth there if you want to go and try. Or you can read Bhagavatam. It is there described in the Bhagavatam.
Probably so. Devotional service is only available in the Mrityu Loka, not in the heavenly planets or Patal Loka.
Very good point. So you have Prabhu has actually added another dimension to that, which is true. So what we are saying is, number one, Naraj is telling Vyasdevji, devotional service is something which you cannot get easily by traveling from topmost planetary system to the lowermost. You cannot get. Everything else you can get. And then as Prabhu added, yes, that is very true. Again, in the 5th canto, Narajji, when he's speaking to one of the Manus, I think Priyavrat Maharaj, he's speaking to one of the Manus, and then he's telling them that even demigods, they are looking down. And then he's saying, Aho Amisham Kimakari Shobhate. That these human beings, what great deed that they have done. So they are looking down now. They are looking at all of you. What great work these living entities have done. That the Swayam, the Supreme Lord himself, is so pleased with them that they are able to perform the devotion service. This is what demigods are thinking. They are not able to perform devotion service there. The facility is not there. So much opulence is there. Bhog is there. Yeah, but here you can do. Yeah. So back to the purport. So the very important point that we were talking about is everything else will come, Prabhuji Mataji. It's only the devotional service that you have to make an effort, in the sense you have to tell yourself, you have to tell your man and mind that please, like we said, I think we discussed one of the times, the words that we discussed in the hall program. Tvamev yache mam dehi jibhe samagate dandadhare kritante vaktavya evam madhuram subhaktaya govinda damo dharmadhaveti. This is Bil Mangal Thakur. He's writing this. He's begging his tongue. He's saying, oh my dear tongue, I beg you. Only you can do this. So this is how we have to beg our tongue. And he's saying that samagate andadhare dandadhare kritante. When my activities are completed, कृतांत मतलब सब कुछ मेरा हो गया, जाने का टाइम आ गया है, उस वक्त जब यमराज जी आएंगे मुझे लेने के लिए, एक भक्त इस भाव में कह रहे, when यमराज जी कम तो उनके सामने मैं क्या करूं? वक्तव्य एवं, सिर्फ यही बोलना, अपनी टंग को मैं प्रे कर रहा हूं, भीख मांग रहा हूं अपनी टंग से, ओ मेरी जिह्वा बस तू यही बोलना. क्या बोलना और कैसे बोलना? मधुरम, प्यार से, स्वीटली, सुभक्त्या, not bhaktya, subhaktya, utmost devotion. Govinda Damo Dharmadhaveti. That's what we desire. Everything else will follow. So if one continues to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is full of narratives of the pastimes of the Lord, at the end of this life, one is sure to be transferred to the eternal transcendental abode of the Lord. Thus, hearers are benefited both ultimately and for as long as they are in the material world. Ultimately and for as long as they are in the material world. That is the supreme, sublime result of engaging in devotional service. The beginning of devotional service is to spare time and listen to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from the right source. So many of you have taken Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. You have invited Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in your house. You are coming here, we are all discussing the Lord's pastime. This is the best thing we can approach in life. Yeah? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also recommended 5 items of devotional service, namely to serve the devotees of the Lord, to chant Hare Krishna, to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, to worship the deity of the Lord, and to live in a place of pilgrimage. Now, in this day and time, if it is not possible, this is a place of pilgrimage. यहाँ पे भगवान पार्थ आती हैं, लड्डू गोपाल, ये आपका वेट करते हैं. They wait for you. How, you remember how your grandparents could wait for you, how parent waits for children, school se kab aayenge, do you wait for them, isn't it? Similarly, Bhagwan is waiting for us. He waits to see us. He waits to hear from us. So like this, we develop that connection, and that connection will do everything. That's it. Nothing else needs to be done. Yeah. Just performing these 5 activities can deliver one from the miserable condition of material life. Okay. Srila Bhaktivedanta purports ki. Let's do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanyam Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadkamlam Shri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Savadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Hitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bhuter Mahadbhir Yaima Puro Vibho Nirmaya Shete Yadamusha Purusha Bhumte Gunansho Dashasho Dashatmakam Solanka Srishta Bhagwan Vachamsi Me Shri Krishna Sharanam Sharanaagatam Katha Amritam Satat Pibatam Bhakti Vedanta Marga Panthanam सर्वलोक ऋषि देव जन्म प्रसन्नम सर्वलोक ऋषि देव जन्म प्रसन्नम. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. Please pray for me. Please, may the Supreme Lord decorate my tongue. May the right words come at the right time. And may we are all truly able to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, and serve all the living entities. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, like I said, Prabhuji Mataji, today we will be covering 3 chapters. So, please be Etan Mahapunamalam Pavitram. You know, you keep singing, it's on your tongue. Dhanyam. Okay, let's repeat. Etan Mahapunamalam Pavitram. Dhanyam Yashasyam Padamahurashisham. Pranendriyanam Yudhishoryavardhanam. Narayano Antegatiranga Shrinvatam. Okay, so we will be covering 3 chapters today, Prabhuji and Mataji. Last chapter we discussed how the demigods had gone to Brahmaji, and Brahmaji told them that when Supreme Lord is in control, right, who creates this world, Vishwasya Sthiti Layod Bhava Adya. Sthiti as in maintenance, Layod as destruction, Udbhav as in creation. And he is the Adi. When he is there, and his Yog Maya, even Yogeshwarar Api, they cannot understand his Yog Maya. Durattaya, उनकी दुरत्ति हो जाती है, बड़े बड़े योगियों की दुरत्ति हो जाती है, वो उसकी योग माया को नहीं समझ सकते. फिर क्षेमम विधास्यति सनो भगवान त्रयधीशर, वो भगवान जो तीनों लोकों के तीनों गुणों के अधिष्ठाता है, अध्यक्ष है, he will look after us, he will take care of our welfare. तत्रा समदीय विमर्शेन ज्ञान. Therefore, हम लोग इस चीज पे विचार करके to contemplate on this, what purpose does it serve? And as saying this, the demigods then went back to their abode. So now in this chapter 17, victory of Hiranyaksha over all the directions of the universe. So what had happened was, when Brahmaji spoke to demigods like this, now Maitreyaji is telling Vidurji that after hearing, and they saying his Geet, Nishamya Atma Bhuva Geetam. See, so that what Brahmaji spoke to demigods, it was like a Geet, it was like a song. It was not instructions, because he described the Vaikuntha Lok. He described how the 4 Kumaras went and how they cursed, and then how Supreme Lord appeared himself to give darshan to the 4 Kumaras, and then how Supreme Lord then glorified Brahmanas. Remember all of that? Yeah. And the Brahmanas, Kumaras, they could not understand the Bhagwan bol kya rahe, what he is talking about. He is saying, तुमने मेरे ऊपर कृपा कर दी है. You have been merciful to me, and Kumaras did not understand. Sometimes, you know, our position, we get so puffed up. And खासकर हमारे ISKCON में तो, you know, we are very generous when we glorify each other, but generous by words, not by heart. Are Prabhu, you are such a great devotee. Are Prabhu, Dandvat Pranam, Koti Dandvat Pranam. Koti as in करोड़. अगर उनको बोलो करोड़ भाई आप जमीन लेट के खड़े हो जाओ, तो वो कहेंगे अरे प्रभु ये क्या बोल दिया आपने. Why speak then? Why do we say Koti Dandvat?
हैं वचनम किम दरिद्रता।
नहीं वो है।
नहीं नहीं नहीं, मेरा कहने वाला है मैं कहता हूँ इसी को यूज कर लेते हैं लोग।
हाँ, उसको मिसयूज कर लेते
यूज करते हैं।
हैं। They are misusing it. If you don't mean it, don't say it. This is the greatest offense we are doing. I'm telling you. Somebody is trying to learn to walk, और हम उसको चने के झाड़ पे चढ़ा के उसको गिराने की तैयारी कर रहे हैं। वो बेचारा चलने की कोशिश कर रहा है। So that's not fair. We have to be very careful. Don't over glorify. Don't, once somebody was telling Srila Prabhupada, I'm so fallen, I'm this, I'm this. Prabhupada said, मुझे पता है तुम क्या, चुप हो जाओ. I know what you are. No, you don't have to, show your humbleness to me. Sometimes we do that. So don't do that. That's all rubbish. Waste of time. If somebody is doing it, just shut them up. Don't do that rudely, but don't entertain that also, because that is also fault. Mind you. That is also your fault. People will come, they will touch your knee. Are Dandot Pranam Prabhuji. My Guru Maharaj often quotes, Vinoba Bhave, Acharya Vinoba Bhave. Once somebody said कि Dandot Pranam, तो Acharya Vinoba said, हाँ, तुम डंडे की तरह खड़े हो. You are standing like a danda, so that means Dandot Pranam हो गया. Right? That's falling flat. और कोटि तो बोलना ही नहीं चाहिए, कोटि. Yeah, so very important. So Brahmaji, what Brahmaji spoke, Nishamya Atma Bhuva Geetam Karanam, yeah, Karanam Shanshayo Ujjita. जो संशय का उनको कारण था, देवताओं को जो डर लग रहा था, the fear, Ujjita went away after hearing from Brahmaji, the Geet of Brahmaji. When he described the reason why there is darkness all around, when demigods heard that, their fear went away. So here Prabhupada tells us, so you can notice from this word, the fear exists in Devlok also. They are also afraid. So if you want to be fearless, then there has to be something else. Even going to the heavenly planets, fear exists there also. Ahar nidra bhay maithunam cha samanam etat pashubhir narana. So bhay exists there also. But if you want to become nirbhay, so we have to serve who can provide nirbhay. Serve the Supreme. So they became fearless demigods, and they went back to their abode. Now when they went back to their abode, now Mother Diti. So here Maitriji says, Purne Varsha Shata. Now 100 years had passed. As she had heard from Kashyap Muni that your sons will create havoc for other living entities, so Shankayamana, she was worried, and she kept them in her womb for 100 years. But even then it was creating so much trouble outside. But after 100 years, even she could not hold. And then after 100 years, then she gave birth to 2 sons. Putrau prashushuve yamo. Yamo means twins. So twin, 2 बच्चों को उसने जन्म दिया after 100 years. And when those 2 were born, then there were problems everywhere. Divi bhuvi antarikshe cha lokasya urubhayavaha. Divi as in the heavens, bhuvi on the earth, and antariksh जो खाली जो space है, space में जो और भी planets है, everywhere. Uru, great danger exists. The fearfulness was everywhere. So, and nobody knew about it. And now there are some symptoms. So this is what inauspicious omens and the birth of twin brothers. Now birth of twin brothers has happened, and we will look at the next slide. So I have captured some of the omens. How do I go to the next slide? This is important. So let's go some of the bad omens which are happening. So mountains and the earth shook. Mountains were trembling. They had just taken birth. They haven't done anything except. They just appeared. Fire everywhere. I don't know if you're reading, there's a news in America, there is a town, there is a beachfront town, and it got all burned down. And the people who are going there to clean the place, they are saying the whole town looks like hell. This is their definition of hell. And they are finding charred bodies, dead bodies. So these are the bad omens, Prabhuji Maharaj. So at that time, there was only 2 demons. Now there are demons everywhere. Right? There are demons everywhere. Somebody has described Bhagwan Ram को हम लोग याद करते हैं. किसी ने कहा है कि किस रावण की भुजा उखाड़ूं, किस लंका में आग लगाऊं, घर घर रावण घर घर लंका, इतने राम कहां से लाऊं. घर घर रावण घर घर लंका, इतने राम कहां से लाऊं. How? So that is the state of affairs, Prabhuji Mataji, everywhere. If you think about it, right? And he said that in Kali Yuga, the demon is inside us, all of us. Not just once, many times a day, we become demons. Not just once, many times. Demonic qualities, anger, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, in some form or shape, they come and torment us. And you cannot get rid of them by mental speculation, by mental gymnastics. So the only process is through hearing the pastimes of the Lord. Vidhu noti suhrid satam. Vidhu noti. The God will clean our heart. Suhrid satam. Because He is our suhrid, He will clean Himself. So there is fire everywhere. Yeah? Then thunderbolts and meteors fell. Meteors को क्या बोलते हैं हिंदी में?
उल्कापात बोलते हैं.
उल्कापात, as in lightning जो होता है. Solid stones fell. See? हो रहे हैं? See? So they were just born, but now it's happening everywhere. Fire is there, thunderbolts are there, right? Many inauspicious planets appeared along with comets. So we're talking about the appearance of actually birth of, I on purpose said appearance. Once again, another thing I want to highlight, we often wish each other happy appearance day, Prabhuji. Appearance सिर्फ भगवान का होता है, राक्षसों का जन्म होता है क्योंकि उनकी मृत्यु होगी. ठीक है ना. ध्रुवो कौन सा गीत, वो कौन सा श्लोक है भगवद गीता? भगवान क्या कहते हैं? ध्रुवम, जिसका जन्म हुआ उसको मृत्यु भी होगी. हाँ, ध्रुवम जन्मम मृतस्य च, जिसका जन्म हुआ उसकी मृत्यु होगी, और जिसकी मृत्यु उसका फिर जन्म भी होगा. फिर कृष्ण अर्जुन से कह रहे, फिर क्यों आप इसकी चिंता करते हो? I can't remember the exact words. Tasmad, yeah. Why do you worry? So very careful again, right? Jatasya hi dhruvam janmam mritasya cha. Yeah. Tasmad na tvam shochitum arhasi. Yes. Tasmad apariharye. No tvam shochitum. Very nice. So please don't call each other happy appearance day. Prabhuji, happy appearance day, man. That will be a great offense unto the lotus feet of this. सब राक्षस हैं, एक दूसरे को अपीयर कर रहे हैं. आप ये मान लीजिए 2 अंधे हैं, 2 ब्लाइंड. एक ब्लाइंड ने पूछा कि मुझे कहीं और जाना है, that can you please show me the way to that place. Other blind person thought he is blind, he can't see. So this blind person says, yes, I can take you there. In a group of blinds, one person says, I want to go there. And another blind says, he can't see. So he says, yes, I can take you there. He says, okay, please take me there. Somehow he reaches to the blind and he's holding his hand. One blind is holding another blind's hand. And this blind person is thinking he's going to take me to the right place. They start walking, but because the person who is showing the way is blind, थोड़ा आगे जाते हैं, गड्ढा आता है, गड्ढे में दोनों गिर जाते हैं. So please be careful. Appearance. So this is what happened when the birth of these two demons happened. Inauspicious planets. Harsh winds blew with dust as their flags. Harsh winds. You've been hearing during whole day now. So harsh winds are blowing. This is not a positive sign. You're trying to put your laundry outside, just हवा सबको उड़ा के ले जाती है. माता जी हवा सबको उड़ा के ले जाती है. This is not a good sign. You need to understand, right? Dust as their flag. जैसे आंधी आ रही है और उसका झंडा लेके आ रही है, धूल उड़ रही है. Storms as their armies, and they uprooted gigantic trees. You see on the roadside often trees fell. So that's not a right thing happening. So all of these signs, Prabhuji, Mataji, we need to look around us. Don't try to create a permanent place here. Don't think, death is just waiting outside the door. Any moment. Don't try to make this place as a permanent. Yes, this can be permanent when you worship the permanent. Otherwise, we just keep worshiping that. Don't think like that. So these are the omens. I just want you to think deeply. This is what happened when the Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu were born. And now we see these dense clouds covered all the luminaries in sky. So it became dark everywhere. In some countries, there is a country which is close to the North Pole. I can't remember the country's name. They have 6-month day, 6-month night. Greenland.
No, Norway.
Yeah, Norway. Yeah. So all these places, they are not habitable places. We are very fortunate to be here in this place. But if we try to here make few houses, have some decent bank balance, if that is our goal of life, then we are gone. Then this is waste of this life. So all these signs, we have to compare our position that we are in such a nice place where we can perform some devotional service. Ocean along with inhabitants wailed loudly. अभी वो क्या आता है oceans में? Tsunami. People still don't understand. I told you about what happened in the Kedarnath. This person was sitting and chanting with his wife. He just looks up and he sees a big mountain of snow is coming, and he just looks on this side, his wife is gone. This is called blink of an eye. His wife is gone, his brothers, they were sitting, all of them, the water just took away everyone. And then this Prabhu had to hang on to a tree. His shoulder got dislocated and he himself put his shoulder back. After a week, some helicopters came. He's seeing people dying of hunger. The dead bodies are lying there. What is this? We're going to Kedarnath, we're going to Ganges, polluting these places of pilgrimage. These are not holiday destinations. So we are inviting this. Something to think about. Rivers and lakes with withered lotuses were agitated. जो शांत पानी होता है, lakes, they were agitated. Eclipse of the sun and moon with halos. ये ग्रहण कोई अच्छा साइन नहीं है. सूर्य ग्रहण, चंद्र ग्रहण, these are not auspicious signs. Very often they are so advertised, isn't it? The scientists advertise it as if it is a great event. No. This is the sign of forthcoming problems. जैसे आपको वार्निंग आती है जब सिडनी में फायर लगती है, दे सेंड वार्निंग कि होल्सवर्दी तक अभी आग आने की संभावना है, तो आप समझ लो कि बस अभी आग आने की संभावना है. These are those signs, right? So this is how we need to think about it. Thunder with clouds, sound of chariot from the mountain caves. साए साए हवा चल रही है. From the caves you hear as if chariot, you know how horses are running, the wheel when chariots are running, the sound it makes, those kind of sounds will started coming. Everywhere there was fear. Bhayavah. Remember? Divi bhuvi antarikshe cha. Uru bhayavah. The whole, everything was getting so scared. And if we close our eyes like a pigeon, you know pigeon, जब बिल्ली आती है सामने तो वो आंख बंद कर लेता है कि शायद अब बिल्ली को मैं नहीं दिख रहा हूं. You know how pigeon dies? Pigeon sees a cat, pigeon closes its eyes, thinks now cat cannot see me, and cat quietly comes and grabs him and takes him. So we are like pigeons, we are closing our eyes to these events. भगवान ने इशारा तो बहुत किया. दशरथ महाराज, when his hairs were getting white, श्रवण समीप भय सित केसा, मनहु जरठपन असूप देसा. एक बार भगवान महाराज दशरथ शीशे में अपने बाल ठीक कर रहे थे, उन्होंने देखा बाल सफेद हो गए. ही रियलाइज कि अब उपदेश दिया जा रहा है कि अब टाइम आ गया है. उसको काला करके, उसको रंग के, उसको चमका के क्या होने वाला है, क्या होने वाला. कबूतर का बिहेवियर ना करें. लेट्स नॉट बी पिजन्स, you know. Let's accept that time is coming, my time is just about to end. What can I do? What shall I do now? ताकि मुझे पुनर्जन्म नहीं लेना पड़े. पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते. भगवान कृष्ण अर्जुन से कह रहे हैं, माम उपेत्यत कौन्तेय पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते. But if you come to me, abrahma bhuvnaloka punaravartino arjuna, lowest planet to the Brahma's planet, everybody has to come back. Then what are we doing? And we are planning to stay here permanent. We are making such a big plans. Next generation plan, next generation plan. Who knows? So something to recognize. She jackals vomiting fire yielded inauspicious. Jackal को क्या बोलते हैं? गीदड़? सियार?
श्रृगाल, संस्कृत में श्रृगाल.
श्रृगाल. Cries of jackals and owls. Ullu. They were crying. Dogs cried like singing and weeping. Abhi aaj, I don't need to say much about it. Yeah. Singing and weeping. Asses ran in herds, gade, striking the earth with their hooves, and they were braying. Frightened by the braying of the asses, then the birds flew from their nests. Cows passed urine and stew. Not cow dung. Cows got scared. Mother cow got scared just by the birth of. Frightened cows yielded blood instead of milk. That shows the state of, you know, the milk is made up of blood. But if the milk cannot be converted into blood, that means body is not functioning properly. And body is not functioning properly, it means there is some fear factor. There is anxiety. You take your own example. When you are anxious, you have headache, you can't eat properly, you can't sleep properly, you can't digest your food, all of that happens. So that demon, you know, that demon is stopping you from doing that. Clouds rained pus. I mean, the way the killings and all these things are going, it is going to happen. Images of gods in the temples shed tears. What to speak of? The gods in the temples, the tears were coming from their eyes. Why? Because they were concerned about the living entities. They were concerned about the state of affairs. Trees fell down without a blast of wind. You know, sometimes हम बोलते हैं प्रभु सब कुछ ठीक था, बस सब कुछ ठीक था, अच्छे से खाना खाया और उठे और एकदम से गिर गए. Right? Then why do you think it won't happen to you? Why do you think? And then the whole point is we prepare for that. Isn't it? We prepare for that. Because अभी प्रभु ने श्लोक बताया, जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्यु, the death is sure. Sometimes we say as sure as death. Then what is the question? So anytime we can fall like this, right? And inauspicious planets, Mars, Saturn, with retrograde motions surpass the auspicious ones. Mercury, Jupiter, Venus came into conflict with one another. Prabhuji studies the planetary systems. So yeah, like I said, these eclipses, they are not good sign. They're not good sign. So all these inauspicious things happen. But everyone was afraid seeing these evil omens. Everyone except the 4 Kumaras fell afraid and thought that the time for dissolution has arrived. Pralaya aane wali hai. You know, COVID was not different. There were dead bodies floating in the water. People with bag full of money, they were begging to get a bottle of cylinder for oxygen bottle. These are the signs, natural disaster. Some balancing act has been done maybe through that process. But if we continue the way we are progressing, so that's why it's not our job to fix the problem. Our job is to chant the holy names. That's it. We chant the holy name and the surrounding also gets purified. And then Krishna will take care of everything. What did Brahmaji say? Vishwa Vishwasayasti Tilayod Bhavar Adyo. Vishwasya Sthiti Layod Bhava Heturadyo. We don't have to worry about these things. Demigods just go. But these signs, the point is, we understand from these signs that there is something going to happen and I should get back to my real duty, which is to serve and glorify the Supreme Lord. That's all. Let's not try to fix the problems. What is that to be done by the Supreme Lord? So all of this were happening. Now I have to go back to the previous slide. Sorry, I don't know how to go direct. So now you understand what were the inauspicious omens after the birth of twin brothers. It happened. Now twin brothers, as they were born, they say they straight away grew. Their bodies were like steel bodies. Ashma Sarani. Ashma is in steel. Folad. Kayen. So their body were like steels. And they were like mountains. When they stood, the tip of their helmet will touch the heaven. They were so big. They could just go to heaven like this. The tip of their helmet is touching the heaven. When they are standing, they were blocking the directions. Just visualize. And when they're standing, they were wearing the golden belt. It is said that with their golden belt, it was so shiny, the sun's glare will be reduced in front of their golden belt. Because they were so tall and this is his waist He's wearing the belt, so even sun cannot, they were covering the sunlight. They were so big. Those two brothers. When they walked, the earth shook. One step means, oh, Sara, sab dharti gir jayegi. They were so big. And then Kashyap Rishi named them. Kashyap Rishi gave them the names. So of them, who was the elder? Hiranyaksha was the elder. Okay, who says Hiranyaksha was elder? Raise your hands. Okay, two. Okay. Who says Hiranyakashipu was elder? Everyone else. Yes, yeah. So the way it is written in Bhagavatam that the first who was conceived was Hiranyakashipu, and Hiranyaksha was conceived second. But when they were born, so Hiranyaksha was born first and Hiranyakashipu was born second. So it is not by birth, it is by who was conceived first. See Bhagavatam, scientists, they were figuring out Bhagavatam, it has the answer for everything. So Hiranyakashipu was elder because he was conceived first and Hiranyaksha was conceived second. But he came first, Hiranyakashipu came second. Right? Like this. So now both brothers grew up. Kashyap Rishi, he named them Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Now both of them performed very severe austerities. Yeah, they performed severe austerities and pleased Brahmaji. Both individually. Hiranyaksha also got so many boons from Brahmaji. Hiranyakashipu also got so many boons from Brahmaji. We will discuss Hiranyakashipu in 7th canto when we discuss Shri Prahlad and Bhagwan Narsimha pastime. Right? Here it is about Hiranyaksha, Varaha avatar. Right? Why Lord has to incarnate as Varaha Bhagwan? That is the question asked by Vidurji. Remember in the 14th chapter, when we spoke about the creation, when Manu and Shatrupa were appeared from Brahmaji's body, Brahmaji told them, go and increase the progeny, but they said, earth is not there, we cannot see that. And then, as Brahmaji was wondering, a small creature came out from his nose and he grew so big. And in there, Maitriji is telling Vidurji that when the Supreme Lord was bringing the earth out of the waters, there was a fight between Varaha Bhagavan and Hiranyaksha. So then at the end of that chapter, he asked a question that you spoke about fight between Varaha and Hiranyaksha. Why did the fight happen? So now this is about that. So both of the brothers got so many boons. Hiranyaksha was a younger brother to Hiranyakashipu, but he was a spoiled younger brother. Hiranyakashipu loved him very much. Hiranyaksha will go and beat everyone and come home, and Hiranyakashipu will say, oh, my brother. My brother. So remember, sometime your own child. We've all seen. He goes and beats up someone and he comes home and he says, oh, Shabash. For the check here. I remember one person in my village. He would take his son for kushti ke liye le jate the, wrestling ke liye. He will say, okay, beta aaj usko patak do. And he will go and stand outside. But then after that, after 10-15 years, the son apne father ko patak diya. When the time came. Because he taught him to go and patko others ko. So one day, usne kaha, theek hai, aapki bari hai. So like Hiranyakashipu was always pleased. Hiranyaksha will go and beat everyone. वो कैसे बोलते हैं गांव में खुला भैंसा छोड़ दिया है, खुला बैल छोड़ दिया है गांव में, वो किसी को भी जाके मार के आ जाएगा. Nobody will touch him. उसके ऊपर स्टैंप होती है उसके ऊपर, बिजार उसको बोलते हैं. It is called बिजार in the village. Nobody can touch him. He has a stamp on it. He goes anywhere. He eats everything. The only thing you can do is you can quietly tell him, please go, but you can't beat him. He belongs to panchayat. Whatever, but he's like Hiranyaksha was behaving like that. He will go and beat everyone, and Hiranyakashipu will be very happy. Okay. So like this. Now Hiranyaksha, he won all the directions. Hiranyakashipu did not have to do anything. He was the king. Hiranyaksha will go beat. Hiranyaksha will go things. He will come back. Hiranyakashipu will praise him. And one day Hiranyaksha, he went to the heavenly planets. He went to the heaven and he was looking for all the demigods. And as he went there, it is said, all the demigods, they hid. They ran away. All the demigods. Sa Indra Devaganan. Indra and all the demigods. Apashyat. He could not find them there. And when he did not find them there, he roared very loudly. He roared loudly because he wanted fight. Sometimes you see this tendency. You see, sometimes you go, you see on the road, somebody has broken the bus stop, somebody has uprooted the bus stand, right? All that. So they are demons, right? They break glass window, everything. So like this, he was going around. As he was going around, Hiranyaksha, he could not find demigods there. He roared and then he came down. He came down, he jumped into the ocean. He jumped into the ocean and then he was going around. As he entered the ocean, all the inhabitants of the sea, they got worried. They were shocked, who has come into the water? And for hundreds of years, he was roaming inside the ocean to find someone to fight with. And he could not find anyone to fight with him. Then he came out of the water and with his club, he started beating the waves, hitting the waves of the ocean. He started doing like that. And then after that, then he went to the depth of the waters where Varun God's residence was. And his capital is called Vibhavari. So he went there and he paid his obeisances to Varun Dev. Varun Dev, he was very powerful. He had also won over all the demons and Daityas. And in his residence is in Patal Lok. And he goes there and he bows down to him. He did a Dandvat like we do Dandvat. Pranipatya. Pranipatya Neechvat Jagat. Neech as a lowborn. He's showing Dandvat Pranam Prabhu. He's paying his obeisances, but like a lowborn. And then Varun was surprised why he's come, why he's going down to me. And then as he got up, then he's begging him, please, boon, please give me a boon of battle, please. I want to fight. Please give me fight. Sanyugam. So he says, me dehe adhiraj sanyugam. O Adhiraj, O king, please give me a boon of fight. He was deriding Varun Dev because Varun Dev had grown a little bit old and he had won all the demigods. Varun Dev knew that he went to heavenly planets, all the demigods ran away and that he cannot fight with him. So he could see that this demon is now full of pride. So Varun Dev told him that now I have grown old and I have lost interest in fighting. Varun Dev was very strong. He once performed Ashwamedh Yagna. He defeated all the demons, all the Daityas, and he performed Ashwamedh Yagna, but he realized it's not worth fighting with him because he could read his mind. Even though he's bowing down to me, he's doing Dandvat to me, but his intentions are not good. So be careful. That's what I'm telling you. You know, sometimes, right? Be careful. He was saying, you are humble servant. I'm your humble servant, Varun Dev. Please give me a fight. So Varun Dev said, no, I cannot fight you. Varun Dev, he got very angry, but with intelligence, he controlled his anger. He controlled his anger and then he told him that the only person who can fight with you is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that Supreme Personality of Godhead, he appears in various forms. Yeah? Rupena Dhatte. He appears in various incarnations, various forms. For what purpose? Sad Anugrah Ichchaya. And Asat Prashantaye. Right? Twat vidhanam asatam prashante. आपके जैसे दुष्टों को शांत करने के लिए एंड अनुग्रहाय, पीपल हु आर वर्चुअस, उन पे मर्सी करने के लिए वो आते हैं And he also tells him that once you meet with him, your body will become food for the dogs and jackals. You will be surrounded by, but still the idiot did not understand. And when Varun Dev told him you can fight with Supreme Lord, he went in search of the Supreme Lord. He went in search of the Supreme Lord, from where he found where I can find Supreme Lord. Then who appears there? Narad appears there. Harer viditva gatim narada. भगवान हरि की गति और भगवान हरि कहां पे मिलेंगे? He found from Narad. See, Narad ji is so important. Narayana dadati iti Narad. That's why he is called Narad. So Narad ji, he does not discriminate. A demon goes and asks him for Bhagwan Hari, he will tell them. A devotee goes and asks him for Hari, he will tell them. So Hiranyaksha asked Narad ji, and Narad ji told him, अरे वो तो अभी वराह अवतार लेके आए हैं नीचे, अभी अर्थ को निकालने जा रहे हैं. And then Hiranyaksha just went there. He went there and he saw the Supreme Lord coming out of the water, and he was holding Mother Earth on his tusk. And as he saw that, Hiranyaksha started abusing Supreme Lord. He said, you are like a one gochar, mriga, right? You look like a beast, jungle beast. What are you doing in the water? You are not supposed to be in the water. You have taken this sukar akrite. You have taken this, form of a sewer, of a pig. Now your time has come. He's telling to Supreme Lord. And he started chastising. He started using bad words to the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord got angry. He looked at the eyes of the Supreme Lord, they were red. But he still did not understand. He started abusing, started chastising Supreme Lord. But the Supreme Lord, he was holding Mother Earth on his tusk. Vasati dharani shikhare tava lagana. Please sing. Vasati dharani shikhare tava lagana. Vasati dashana shikhare dharani tava lagana. Dashana shikhare dharani tava lagana. Shashini kalanka kale vani magana. Shashini kalanka kale vani magana. Now please visualize Varaha Bhagwan is holding the earth and he is coming out of the water. Let's get our mandir. Keshavadhrita Shukar Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jayo Jagadish Hare Jayo Jagadish Hare. So Shavadrita Shukar Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jayo Jagadish Hare Jayo Jagadish Hare. भगवान केशव ने शुकर का रूप धरा है. वसती जो धरणी है, मदर अर्थ, दशन शिखरे, दशन मीन्स टस्क और टीथ. On the tip of your tusk, Mother Earth is situated. Yeah? As if शशिनी कलंक, शशिन as in moon, जैसे चांद के ऊपर एक छोटा सा कलंक लगा होता है. Like that, my dear Lord, you are holding Mother Earth on the top of your tusk, and you have taken this Varaha. Now, as Hiranyaksha was saying all these things to Supreme Lord, Mother Earth got scared. The Supreme Lord brought Mother Earth down, put it on the water so that it can float, and transferred his energy into the Mother Earth. As he put Mother Earth there, Hiranyaksha was still saying bad things to the Supreme Lord. And then Supreme Lord, after putting Mother Earth in its position, now Brahma and all the demigods came, they showered, they started putting flowers on the Supreme Lord, but this idiot still could not understand what is going to happen to him. He was still saying bad words. He can see Brahma and demigod, same Brahma who gave him the boon, now throwing flowers on Bhagwan ka Pushpa Abhishek kar rahe hain. He could not understand. And now, as he was speaking bad words to Bhagwan, Supreme Lord also to anger him, to generate more anger inside the क्योंकि उसका अब अंत आने वाला है. Before the death, he was going to destabilize him, right? So the Supreme Lord started speaking to him again. He said, "What kind of warrior you are? If you are worth, if you have pride, and if you have spoken out of pride, you should not keep quiet. You should come and fight. You should have the valor to come and fight with me." And Hiranyaksha got agitated. He took his club and he started chasing the Supreme Lord. As he tried to hit the Supreme Lord with his club, the Supreme Lord avoided the club. He let the club pass next to him. And here they say as how the yogis are able to, bypass dodge the death, dodge the mrityu, right? Like this, the Supreme Lord dodged his club. And then Hiranyaksha also took his club, and now Supreme Lord also took his club, and they were trying to hit each other. They were hitting each other. The blood was coming from the body of each other. The Supreme Lord was enjoying the fight as if he's playing with the child. जैसे गरुड़ एक सांप के साथ खेलता है. Like this, the Supreme Lord was playing with Hiranyaksha. And as the fight went on between both of them, now Brahmaji came again. Brahmaji was already there. Now they realized that evening time is approaching. Because in the evening time, when the sun is about to set, the energy of Nishasar, the demons, their energy increases. And Brahmaji now telling the Supreme Lord that, "My dear Lord, please don't delay. Please kill him. Please kill him." And then Supreme Lord, he heard Brahma's words. And after hearing his words, it is said, now Maitreji again tell Vidurji that avdharya, after hearing, he understood, right? What Brahma was saying, his words. After hearing his words, the Supreme Lord, he looked at him. He looked at him with prahasya. The Supreme Lord smiled. Prema garbhena. He smiled with the love laden in that smile. आप किसी बच्चा आपको कुछ बोलता है, when you smile at them, there is one smile when you're smiling someone with full of love. Once you're smiling someone with some level of sarcasm. When you're smiling someone, there is anger in that. But here, Maitreji is saying it was laden with love. Prema garbhena. उस smile के गर्भ में प्रेम था. Even though Brahmaji is telling, kill him, kill him. But Maitreji says, nirvaya leek amritam vacha. जो उनके वर्ड थे, those words like amrit, like nectar. How can you believe? He is telling someone to kill, and I'm saying, I see nectar in your words. But Brahmaji is doing for the welfare of everyone. Right? Arjun, he killed millions of people on the battlefield. उसको कोई कर्म फल नहीं लगा. Because he had Krishna in his heart. Similarly, Brahmaji, he is born from the Supreme Lord, and he's asking this request for the welfare of everyone. उसको कोई कर्म फल नहीं लगा. So Supreme Lord hase, prahasya, prema garbhena. So agrahit. And then the Supreme Lord accepted Brahma's request. Now Supreme Lord accepted Brahma's request, and as the fight was now going to the next level, right? Now they started fighting, and Supreme Lord tried to hit Hiranyaksha with his club, and his club fell from his hand. Bhagwan ki gada छूट गई. Bhagwan ki gada छूट गई. It was like swirling like this, and it fell on the ground. As it fell on the ground, Hiranyaksha felt very great. See. And now demigods came, and they said, Bhagwan, please stop playing with him. Please don't do any play with him. Now Supreme Lord he called Sudarshan Chakra. He called Sudarshan Chakra, and Sudarshan Chakra came, but still Hiranyaksha did not understand what is going to happen here. He felt very happy that now I've got, his club is broken. But then Hiranyaksha said, I won't hit you because you don't have a club. Get your club and then it will fight properly. See, धर्म की बात कर रहे हैं. राक्षस धर्म की बात कर रहे हैं. नहीं ऐसे नहीं मारूंगा, निहत्ते को नहीं मारूंगा. Get your club. And Supreme Lord kept laughing. And then he tried to hit Supreme Lord with his club. because he has got the chakra. As he tried to hit the club, now it says Supreme Lord kicked the club, and it also kicked Hiranyaksha. His foot touched Hiranyaksha. Brahmaji is praying later on. He's saying, that foot of yours, my dear Lord, which yogis are waiting, they meditate so long to see that foot, but with that foot, pad ahato, with that pad, he says, tashesh daitya rishabha pad ahato. With that same foot, this leader of the daityas, of the demons, was hit by that foot, my dear Lord, that foot whose yogis are meditating for many, many lifetimes to get a darshan. So wonderful is this person. So wonderful is his death. And now this demon, he got out. When his club was thrown away, then he called trident, Trishul. He got trident and he was trying to Supreme Lord hit with the trident. Now Supreme Lord this time he released the chakra, and Sudarshan chakra cut his trident into pieces. And now he threw all the weapons and he jumped on the Supreme Lord. He pounced on him and he was trying to grab him in his arms as if crush him. Now he goes and grab him there. Krishna. Remember the Kans same thing? Kans was trying to kill Krishna like this. He went and he grabbed him. Bhagwan is there. He grabbed him. Bhagwan is there. And he's telling, you are only mystic. He's telling the Supreme Lord, you are just a mystic. तुम्हारे अंदर कोई शक्ति नहीं है, तुम डरपोक हो. You are too scared. He's speaking these words. And like this, the fight continued. But Brahmaji is getting worried now. My dear Lord, the time is passing. Right? So like this, they were hitting each other. And now finally the Supreme Lord, he hit, उनकी मुट्ठी से भगवान ने उसकी कनपट्टी के नीचे एक मार दिया. थप्पड़ मारा, मुक्का मारा, जो भी मारा, मुष्टि का. Here. And as he hit that, the demon, the same demon, he lost his life and he wheeled around and he fell on the ground. As he fell on the ground, his eyes were bulging out. His eyes were bulging out and he's lying there. And now Brahmaji comes and Brahmaji says, oh, such a glorious death. He is killed by that Supreme Lord. Ko labhet samsthitim. Aho, he says, aho, oh. He has got that gati. He is killed by the Supreme Lord. He is hit by the foot of the Supreme Lord. And now, as this has happened, now demigods come. Brahmaji has glorified the Lord. Now demigods come and they start glorifying the Supreme Lord, that my dear Lord, you have come, you've been so wonderful. This demon, he was troubling us. And all glories to you. And they go back to their abode. And Supreme Lord also now goes back to his abode after killing Hiranyaksha. Now Supreme Lord goes back to his abode after killing Hiranyaksha. Brahmaji has gone back. Demigods have gone back. Yeah. And now Sud Goswami, who is speaking Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to Shaunaka Rishi. So these words that we discussed today. Yeah. So I've pretty much given you a summary of all the chapters. I was just conscious of the time. Yeah. So finally, so we are covering 3 chapters today. So killing of demon Hiranyaksha, so fight between Hiranyaksha and Bhagwan Varaha, Brahma and others praise Hiranyaksha, like I said. So Brahmaji is saying that, that foot which yogis look for, for many, many lifetimes, that foot has hit him. How so glorious this demon is. And then glories of the Lord and Lord's activities. All the demigods come, they glorify the Supreme Lord. Demigods glorify the Supreme Lord. And now Maitreya Rishi tells Vidurji, oh Vidur, I have described this pastime of the Lord to you. Whatever I heard in the parampara, I have described it to you. Now, next level. So Maitreya is speaking to Vidurji. On top of that, like I said, so Sud Goswami is speaking to Shaunaka Rishi. He's telling them what Maitreya and Vidur are speaking. So now Sud Goswami concludes this narration in his assembly at Naimishal. And there after glorifying, he tells them the Shruti Fal. That's the words that we spoke today. Yeah. So let's recite that words together, and then I'll take another 5 minutes, and I want to. How do I stop this? Please recite these words together. Etan mahapunyamalam pavitram
Etan mahapunyamalam pavitram
Dhanyam yashasyam padamayurashisham
Dhanyam yashasyam padamayurashisham
Pranendriyanam yudhishoryavardhanam
Pranendriyanam yudhishoryavardhanam
Narayano antegatiranga shrinvatam.
Narayano Vandegate.
So just by hearing this pastime, Mataji, there are a number of key points that we can take away from this. But one key point that I want to mention today is, and then I will share another. So yesterday was the disappearance of appearance and disappearance. Yesterday was the disappearance of Raghunath Das. He's one of the great Vaishnavas, great scholars, and his father's name was Mukunda Das, and his uncle's name was Narhari Das. Kibanara Hari Adi Kori Chamaradhula Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Goshayadikaya. So Raghunath Das, Prabhuji Mataji, his father's name was Mukunda Das. It is said that there are different accounts. Once Mukunda Das, Raghunath Das was born in 1510 and Mahaprabhu appeared 1486. So around that time. So once Mahaprabhu ate beetle, pan, and he gave half of that to Mukunda Das. Mukunda Das gave it to his wife, and then Raghunath Das was conceived. He said that. One account says that. Another place, it is not that detailed, but it speaks about Mukund Das' son, Raghunath Das. So Raghunath Das was a great devotee from the very beginning. And it is said that Mukund Das, he was a physician of the king. He was a physician of the king, and he would often go and ask for the services. He would also had his own dispensary. So once he was called into the palace, and he went into the palace, he had prepared the bhoga to offer to Shri Gopinathji. So they had deities at home, Shri Radha Gopinathji. So he had prepared the bhoga. So because he had to go, so he told Raghunath Das, offer bhoga to Gopinath. And he told him, and he left. Now Raghunath Das, he offered bhoga to the Gopinath, and he thought he's going to eat now. And he's telling Raghunath Das is telling Gopinath Bhagwan, please eat bhoga, khao. Bhagwan nahi kha rahe the. So he said a few times, khao. And then he started crying. And then Supreme Lord appeared. He said, why are you crying? He said, bhoga khao aap. 5-year-old boy. And then Supreme Lord accepted from him. And now Raghunath Das came after performing his service. He comes home and he tells Raghunath Das, please bring some prasad. And then he said, what prasad? He said, the bhoga that you offered to the Supreme Lord. He said, wo to sab Bhagwan ne pa liya. And Mukund Das was like, what is he talking about? Bhagwan ne pa liya. So next day he thought, okay, let me try again. So next day he said, I'm going somewhere. Today you offer this bhoga to the Supreme Lord. And Mukund Das went out, but he did not go out. He come back. He saw Raghunath Das telling Gopinath, bhoga khao. And then Gopinath appeared. And then he put laddu in his hand. Lo, laddu khao. And Gopinath ate half the laddu. As he ate half the laddu, Mukund Das was at the door. And as Mukund Das opened the door, Gopinath disappeared. He went back into that form. But that half-eaten laddu was still on his hand. Yeah. So then this news went to Mahaprabhu. And then Mahaprabhu called Mukund Das. Mukund Das, tell me, is Raghunath your father? And you are his son? Or you are father and Raghunath is your son? This is also recorded in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then Mukunda said that Raghunath is my father and his son. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu commended him. He said, good. He said, whoever imbibes Krishna Bhakti in us, he is our Guru. Whoever imbibes Krishna Bhakti in us, he becomes our Guru. So like this Raghunath Das, he served. Once it is said, Raghunath Das, there was a great Vaishnava who came to visit him. He came to visit him and they started doing kirtan and they were dancing. As they were dancing, his anklet flew 4 miles away. Raghunath Das' anklet came off from his foot and went 4 miles away. And it landed in one of his disciples' courtyard. And disciple recognized, and that place is now they dig a well, like pond there, and it is called Nupur Kund. It is still there. And every year he will take yatra to Jagannath Puri, and they will participate in Rath Yatra. And he will be leading the kirtan. He will be participating in that. So he became such a great devotee of Mahaprabhu. And he served. He was always immersed in chanting the holy names. Raghunath Das. And then before he leaving his body, he gave the service of serving Gopinathji to his son Kanai Das. And it is said that when he was about to leave his body, he was chanting Mahaprabhu's name all the time. And just by chanting Mahaprabhu's name, he just disappeared from the material life. He just disappeared. This is appearance and disappearance. So now we discuss Hiranyaksha being killed, and we also discuss Raghunath Das. Hiranyaksha is also glorified for going back to Godhead. Yes, Misty.
I have a quick question. You said appearance and disappearance is only used for the Supreme Personality. So is it still used for like greater Vaishnavas?
Okay,
Like we use it for Srila Prabhupada as well.
Yes, yes.
So it's allowed for.
Yes, yes, yeah. But to err on the safe side, you just use it for the Supreme Lord. If you're not sure, then you ask. Sometimes we ask. Like my Guru Maharaj, he never wanted his Vyas Puja to be offered in person. He would always avoid that. There are some. I'm not saying those who are doing it, that's not right, but it's some individual. They're all so. So the best way to deal with them is to maintain a distance. Is to go through a guru, have somebody in between. If you make a mistake, there is somebody to guide you. There is some covering for you there. So it's not very easy to go near, the Supreme Lord, to near the great Vaishnavas. You ask Srila Prabhupada's disciples who were his personal servant, they were saying it was not very easy to be around him. It can be very easy, it can be very tough also. If you are pure at heart, then it is very easy. But if you have slightest of material desire, then you're gone. So it's better stay away. Right? It's better stay away and serve them from a distance. Serve through someone. That way you are safe. Not out of selfish mode, but what I'm saying is out of caution, out of care. So that we don't make any mistake, we don't commit a Vaishnava Varaha. That is the mood. Yeah? So I just want to conclude the 2 points that that I want to bring your attention. You might say sometime that Prabhu Hiranyaksha also got liberated. He also got a liberation, and Raghunath Das also got liberation. So what is the difference? Yeah. But you see Hiranyaksha's life, the whole life he lived. What kind of life he lived? Samrambha Yogena. The Supreme Lord told him, Samrambha is anger. You will remember me by the anger, not Bhakti Yoga. You are remembering me with anger all the time. But on the other hand, Raghunath Das, he is remembering Supreme Lord out of love and feeding him and serving him all the time. So what a blissful that life is. And what is Hiranyaksha's life? He is always agitated. He is always anxious. Even though he remembered Supreme Lord like Ravana, Kans, all of them, Hiranyakashipu, they were always worried, Krishna, 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 kahan gaya, kahan gaya? नींद में कहीं कृष्ण तो नहीं आ गया, अभी मार दूंगा उसको, अभी now I want to kill him. So that's what this marg is about. So what we trying to do is we trying to develop that loving devotional service. Through service and prem, we want to serve the Supreme Lord and then have that realization. So that's the difference. So now we'll stop here. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
तो जैसे आप अर्जुन का एग्जांपल दे रहे थे, he had the Lord in his heart and he was pretty much just doing his